Section 3 of Chapter 3 is entitled Problems with Two or More Unknowns. And I've divided this into two sections because this section is simply lots and lots and lots of word problems, and I know how much you love them. But the idea is the more you practice them, the more they make sense and the quicker and easier they will be. So if you have two or more unknowns, we can only solve for one unknown, one variable at a time. So what we have to do is first just choose one of the unknowns to be the variable. That's your x. This number is going to be x. Then use the relationship between the two unknowns in order to write the second unknown. So instead of x, you've got x plus 3 or x times 2 or some relationship between the two. Let me show you what I mean by that. The first types of problems that you will encounter are simply the find two numbers problems, okay? So in this problem, the greater of two numbers is 3 times the lesser number. The sum of the two is 36. Find the two numbers, all right? So the question is, you've got two numbers. So you've got the first number, and you've got the number 1, and you've got the number 2. So those are your two unknowns. That's what you're looking for. So first of all, you're going to look for, what is it that I'm looking for? In this case, you're just looking for two numbers. So the greater of two numbers is 3 times the lesser number. So let's just choose one of those to be x. So the first number is just going to be x. All right. So then the second number is going to be the greater one. The greater of the two numbers is 3 times the lesser number. So if the lesser number is x, the greater number is going to be 3 times that. So 3 times the x is just 3x. So now you've got two unknowns, but they're stated with just one variable. So you've got x and 3x. Those are your two numbers. Those are the variables that represent your two different numbers. If the sum of the two is 36, sum means to add. So you're going to add number 1, and you're going to add number 2, and you're going to get 36. So you add x plus 3x, and you should end up with a total of 36. So now you have an equation. Once you have an equation, it's just a matter of simplifying. X plus 3x is 4x. 4x equals 36. Divide by 4 on both sides. So x equals 9. Now the trick with this is, make sure to go back and answer the entire question. They said to find the two numbers. So x is 9, so your first number is 9. And in this case, I'm always harping on make sure you have a label. In this case, there's no label because they're just find the numbers. Well, the number is 9. And the second number is going to be 3 times x. So 3 times that number is 27. So your two numbers are 9 and 27. All right, so just make sure you start. So the trick is find a variable and then talk about the other variable in relation to the first one. So in 1 year, the average person eats 12 pounds more of chicken than pork. I would agree with that. I don't eat much pork. If the average person eats 108 pounds of chicken and pork together, how many pounds of each does he eat? All right. So what are we looking for? In this case, we're looking for two unknowns. We're looking for chicken and we're looking for pork. So write it out. What are we looking for? Chicken, chicken and pork. All right. There's my two variables, chicken and pork. So now, or those are the two things we're looking for. So now let's state them. Let's see, it talks about 12 pounds more of chicken than pork. So it's talking about the chicken. So let's call the pork the x, because the chicken is what we talk about. It is what it gives more information about. So x is our pork, and the chicken is talked about in relation to the pork. So the chicken, the person eats 12 pounds more of chicken than pork. So if we're starting out with the pork, chicken is going to be 12 pounds more. And remember, more is the same as adding. So we're going to have 12 pounds plus x is the amount of chicken. So now, if the average person eats 108 pounds of chicken and pork, so that means the amount of chicken plus the amount of pork is going to equal your 108. So you just put the amount of chicken is 12 plus x, plus the amount of pork is x, and that equals 108. And you can put that in parentheses if you wish, just to help your brain remember and determine, okay, this is chicken plus the pork equals the total. But remember, this is adding, so we're not multiplying by anything, so we don't have to distribute. So I can simply combine like terms. So I have two x's, and I'm going to put the x's in front just because that's the way we're used to seeing it. So 2x plus 12 equals 108. And now we just solve. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. And we end up with 2x equal to 876, 1096. 2x equals 96, so divide by 2. So x is going to equal, what, 45, 7, 48? So then you go back, now we've got an answer, but now go back and answer the question. The question is, how many pounds of each does he eat? So he eats 48 pounds of the x, and so 48 pounds is our x, so that's the pork. So he eats 48 pounds of pork, and then to get the chicken, remember, we've got to add 12 back on. So 48, 58, 59, 60. So 60 pounds of chicken. All right, so make sure. Once you get your answer for x, don't think, oh, done. You got to go back and answer the question that was asked. And so if you will list out what your unknowns are, go back and put your answers with those unknowns, and that'll help you out. All right. Couple more types. Let's see, what are we going to do next? Oh yeah, let's do this one next. Okay. Karen is constructing a rectangular flower garden. She wants the length to be twice the width, and she has 30 feet of border materials. What are the dimensions of her garden? So, with these geometry questions, you need to know those formulas. You need to know the formula for area. You need to know the formulas for perimeter. You need to know circumference. You need to know volume. You need to know those. If you don't know them right now, they are on page 95 of your book. Go back and study them. Get familiar with some of those, especially the rectangulars, the rectangular ones with volume and area and perimeter, those types of things. You need to know those. They need to just be on the top of your head. Because we've got a rectangular flower garden, so we happen to know that, that we need length and we need width if we've got a rectangle. And so width and length are our two unknowns. She wants the length to be twice the width. So your width, and you can call these something else if you want to have fun with it and call this width would be W. That will also help you keep track of which one did I use the variable for. You don't have to, you can always call it X if you'd like. But the length now is twice the width. So the length is 2 times the width. Now for your equation, you can't just, it doesn't say, now this equals this. It doesn't give you a total. It does give you a total of 30 feet for the border. But there's where you've got to remember, okay, the border of a rectangle is the perimeter. And the perimeter of a rectangle isn't just the length plus the width. It's 2 of the lengths plus 2 of the widths. All right, because you've got the sides and you've got the tops and bottoms, you got 2 of them. So now you can put in, so the perimeter we know, the perimeter is 30 feet. And that's going to equal 2 of the lengths. Now be careful, because it's going to be 2 of the 2W. So it's going to be 2 times 2W. It's going to be 2 of those plus 2 of my widths, and width just happens to be W. So 2W. And now you can solve it. You know how to solve these. You're multiplying through, so that's 30 equals 4W plus 2W. Combine like terms. 4 plus 2 is 6W. So divide by 6. W now equals 5. And now we're not done yet. So 5 is going to be, let's see, 30 feet. So the width is 5 feet. And the length is going to be twice that. So 5 times 2 is 10 feet. And there is your final answer. And you've got to have it labeled with what it matches up to. All right? All right. So the big thing on that is to know your formulas so that you can know how to use them. All right, the next thing, last thing, hang in there. One more type. This has to do also with geometric type things. This has to do with angles. And if you'll remember, you need to remember that supplementary angles, if you've got supplementary angles, complementary comes first. Complementary angles are two angles that you add together and you have a sum of 90. So they make a right angle. Supplementary angles add together and give you a 180-degree angle or a straight line. So you need to know those terms in order to solve these types of problems. So complementary, the sum is 90. Supplementary, the sum is 180. The 90, remember, is a right angle, like a square. The 180 is a straight line. That's going to be important. Maybe I should put that on there. So right angle, straight line, straight line. All right? So in this one, we've got some trusses in a building, and we've got a brace in here, and we want to know the angle of DBC is 6 degrees less than 3 times the angle of ABD. We want to find those two angles. Okay, so step 1 is to list, well, what is it that we're looking for? We're looking for angle, let's see, what is it? Angle DBC and angle ABD. All right, those are our two unknowns. All right, and so it looks like angle DBC is the one that we're going to talk a lot about. So let's call angle ABD, let's call it the X. All right, because the sentence talks about DBC in relation to the ABD. All right, so this angle is 6 degrees less than, remember less than switches it, so 6 less than, so something minus 6 less than 3 times this angle. So 3 times X. See where I got that? So 6 less than 3 times this angle, which is X. All right, so now what is true about these two angles? So what good does this do you? Find the angles. Well, we happen to know from this figure that this is a right angle. All the way from here to here is a right angle, and we know that because of this little square in the corner that says this is a 90-degree angle. So this angle plus this angle equals a 90-degree angle. So therefore, our 3x minus 6 plus our x are all going to equal 90 degrees. And once again, once you have that, now it's a simple matter of just combining like terms and solving. 3x plus 1x is 4x. Minus 6 equals 90. Add 6 to both sides. 4x equals 96. Divide both sides by 4. X equals, what is that, 24? Yes. So X is 24. Make sure to label it. X is 24 degrees. Now there's two different ways you can find the other angle. You can either put that 24 into this equation or into this expression to find what this one equals, or remember the two equal 90. So you can just take 90 and minus 24 to find, okay, well, if this one is 24, what do we say? If this one is 24, then this one plus this one equals 90, so you can just subtract it. So 90, 80, so 66 degrees is this first angle. Okay, so you can either put x into your equation here, into your example. So 24 times 3 would be 60, 70, 72 minus 6 is 66. So it's the same thing. All right, or you can just subtract from 90. All right, so lots of word problems. Yay, have fun. I'll see you soon.